Before our little boy existed, there were months of hoping, waiting, and just trying to figure it all out. These photos, this was us right at the start, full of excitement, but also stepping into something we didn't fully understand yet. We knew we wanted a baby, and we knew the route we were going to take. And on paper, we were prepared. There's actually a lot of information out there about the medical side, the legal side, the process of IUI, donor conception, all of it. We read it, we researched it, we spoke to professionals. But what we didn't really have was a way to understand how it would feel. The emotional side of it. The quiet conversations behind closed doors, the weight of decisions that don't have a clear right answer. Like, how do you decide who carries, and how do you both really feel about that? What does it feel like going through treatment again and again, holding on to hope, but also trying to protect yourself at the same time? No one really prepares you for that part, for the waiting, for the uncertainty, for how much it can take out of you without anyone else really seeing it. If you've watched our channel before, you'll know I love positive content. Family days, cooking, those little moments that make life feel good. And that's still us, but sometimes the most positive thing you can do, the right thing to do, is be honest about the harder parts too. Because behind every "we made it," there's usually a story that isn't always told. And if sharing this, all of it, not just the highlight reel, helps even one person feel less alone, or gives someone the words for feelings they haven't been able to explain yet, then it matters. So today, we're just going to sit down together and talk about our journey. The decisions, the emotions, the ups and the setbacks. Everything that led us to him. Our dream, our fight, our little miracle. Hi everyone, all 11, 12, I think actually even maybe 13
no,
of you.
it's 14 now.
It's 14, it's 14. All 14 subscribers. So as I said, this is a video where myself and my beautiful wife are going to talk about our fertility journey. We're just going to kind of go straight into it. And as you can see, Verity's thrilled by the prospect of this. But yeah, so we've thought about some questions and things that we're just going to talk about naturally that hopefully will be helpful to anyone who chooses to watch this. What made us decide to share this story now?
Recently during work, I had somebody who was embarking on a journey with fertility, and it made me realise that there's not enough really out there to guide people. And yeah,
it's like I was thinking about it the other day, is there's not enough out there about the sort of emotional aspect of things.
No, absolutely.
Like, because we found out loads, didn't we, about and like I said this on the pre-video bit, like loads about kind of like the financial stuff and everything else, but we didn't know as much about what it would actually mean for us as people, and especially with the different types of fertility.
If you had to sum up our journey in one sentence, what would it be?
I would say it's been relatively, yes, we've had some difficulties, but relatively I think it was a fortunate journey. With a sprinkling of some stuff. It's not really a sentence, I mean that's hard to put into a sentence, but sprinkling of bits that made it a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, I'm not sure anything you said would ever be just one sentence.
I don't think it would. Thanks for that, that's great. Yeah, what about you?
Emotional and life-changing.
Yeah,
definitely.
What do you wish people understood about fertility journeys like ours?
For me, it would be the emotional aspect, everything that goes into it. Obviously, it was emotional for both of us in different ways, but everything changes. Your life goes on hold, financially, emotionally, physically.
But it was different for us both because obviously Verity carried and had to go through the C-section and all of the hormonal changes before conception and then after giving birth. So we did have, like, you know, we always sort of talk about when he came out, like it was the most, like it was the happiest moment of my life, like hearing him cry and sort of like when they were stitching Verity up, I was just sort of stood there with him going hello. But actually for Verity, that was...
It's completely different.
Yeah, it was horrible. So I think that's one of the things, isn't it, to really... Yeah, no, I like that. That's a good answer.
When did we first realise we wanted a baby, and what did that look like for us?
No, I think it was something that we both wanted to do. I think you were there a lot sooner than I was, because we both got different like previous experiences. But I kind of knew that I always wanted to. I knew that I wanted to, but it was just like, what would that look like?
No, you say that I was there way before you were, but then if we never got the chance to have a child, I would have been equally as happy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I suppose the romantic answer is we fell in love and decided we wanted to start a family together.
Yeah, no.
But that's true though, isn't it?
Yeah,
well?
yeah.
Oh, you admit you love me.
Obviously.
Okay. Next question for us then. How did we decide who would carry? And what emotions came with that decision for both of us?
Well, originally it was going to be you. I think
it wasn't, was it?
Yeah, we had spoken about it.
Probably,
probably briefly.
Like for like 5 seconds.
But maybe 6.
I can't remember that. That's interesting. I can't remember that. I know you're telling the truth because you always do. I think it came down to practicalities, really, didn't it? I think it came down to financial practicalities and where we both were in our careers and what it would mean for our careers and how we create the most stable environment for a child and for us as a family as a whole. So, and there were other factors involved, like I'm older than Verity. I know I don't look it, but I am like 8 years older than Verity. So, you know, all the things that mean that there would be a better chance. So yeah, I think that was pretty much it. In terms of how we felt about it, I think for me it was just about being okay with the idea of not being the biological parent when Verity was. And it wasn't that I didn't think I wouldn't love him or anything. It was just, it's a big decision. And luckily I didn't get any sort of support from that, from looking online or anything, because there wasn't a lot out there. But it was someone that I met through a work event, a work training. And it, you know, it's just kind of like fortuitous, really. Like, you know, we sat down, had a conversation, and she was telling me about her and her wife's journey. And I just rang you, didn't I, on the way home from that training day, because I was like in London, and rang Verity and I was like, yeah, let's do it. Like, I've just spoken to someone and it's just given me a completely different insight into it. Let's do it. And that was it. It was go, wasn't it?
Yeah, you say that you weren't worried that you wouldn't love him the same, because, however, that was a worry. And that's, I think that's a normal human worry, because it's fine to say that's always going to be a normal human worry, and this child is not biologically mine.
But I think it was more, if he's not biologically mine and he's biologically yours, will there be some mystical power love that you have for him, or that he has for you, that I wouldn't be able to feel? Is that going to create a difference and a divide that, you know? And I think you're right, actually. It's good to be honest about it, because that's
the whole point of doing this. That's always going to be a worry. That would have, had it have been the other way around and you were carrying him, I think I would have worried. Oh, am I going to bond with them? It's a normal worry, and I'm sure anybody embarking on that journey would feel the same way.
Yeah, and it's right to talk about.
Did we feel supported in that choice, or did we have to navigate it ourselves?
I think we navigated that ourselves.
100%. I don't know.
Because the thing is,
support from whom?
Well, exactly, because the fertility clinic get involved with, and they were great. And I'd say especially the second clinic that we had, the one where we were actually successful, I think they were great. I mean, our family were great. She's not with us anymore. She's like, which we'll talk about in a bit as well, but, you know, she died like 3 weeks before he was born. But I remember talking to my Nonna, do you remember? And she was just like, yeah, just have a baby. You know, she was you'll need one. It'll be good. It'll be good for you. Yeah, talking to my Nonna about it. And all my family, like, they were amazing. I think they asked really pertinent questions when we started to, like, have those honest things about going, right, we're thinking of, like, having fertility treatment. And they were amazing though. They were really good, and they would ask questions if they weren't sure. You know, how are you going to feel not being a biological parent? I remember having conversations with my parents about that, but in a really supportive way, not in a kind of they're worried way. But yeah, our family were great and our friends were great. I think so. But that is, like Verity says, that's kind of the reason why I want to do these videos, because I think for the bit that comes around the emotional side, that's harder to know. Before starting, what did we think the process would look like or be like? And then what was the reality of the process compared to what we expected?
For me, I think I kind of went in blind. I knew obviously quite a bit about IVF and what that entailed, but I didn't know a lot about IUI. Never needed to. It was never really something that I'd needed to research. So I wasn't really sure, to be honest. I wasn't sure, I think, more on the medication side, like what that would look like. Would I need medication? Would it be...
Yeah, that's what I wasn't sure of. Like, you just get these kind of...
Do I just go into a clinic?
I just have turkey paste on my head. Like,
yeah, no, that's
no,
is
like
that what it is? Yeah.
Is it you just go in and like someone just gets a syringe and goes, let's just give it a go? Yeah, I don't think we knew about the medication, and then actually, even when you're thinking about the reality of it, the medication situation was completely different in the two different clinics that we used. So, I don't think we did have any expectations of it. I think we knew that. I think the thing that we thought, and this is a fortunate difference, but it isn't always the case, and I know that from people I've spoken to. I think we probably thought we'd be in it for the long haul, like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, definitely.
We
At
didn't.
least.
Yeah. In saying that, you are filled with hope the first time you do it. You're like, it's going to work. I just have a feeling it's going to work. And then after the first time doesn't work, you kind of... But we did think it would take ages, and luckily it didn't. It didn't happen the first time or the second, but it did happen eventually. I think the bit that I wasn't expecting was how much of that kind of medical tracking there'd be.
No, it was a lot of appointments, like a lot.
All the follicle...
I think sometimes it's every other day, every 2 days.
Oh, it was, wasn't it? It was like quite intense.
Yeah, and it's obviously, it's taking the time of work as well.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, for both of us, it was that. Yeah, it was. I mean, I was really lucky. Like, I was head teacher at the time, wasn't I? And I think my work were brilliant at kind of supporting me in those initial appointments we had when we did it in down south.
Yeah,
and the same when I moved up here and my work here as well.
So, what was the reality of?
Oh no, that one.
Oh,
I did that one. Sorry. Yeah, no.
How did the medication affect you physically and emotionally? So. I don't know if you want me to go into what medication I had, what it did.
I think you should, because you remember it.
So
the first time it was different. I think that's the thing to say.
The first time I was given 2 medications alongside each other. So buserelin, which I think I've got this right, it was years ago now, essentially puts your body into a state of menopause so they can monitor and manipulate the growth. Manipulate is the wrong word. Monitor the growth of your egg follicles.
But it was controlling your cycle, literally, wasn't it?
No, it was.
Like, it controlled when your cycle started and ended. Yeah,
it did. And gonal F, I think, I can't remember what they did. That did. I don't know if it helped the growth of. I really can't remember.
I can't remember what they did. One of them was to put you into that temporary state of menopause, or essentially to control your cycle, and the other one was to promote the growth of the follicles, I think.
Yes, it was. But with that came some really horrible side effects. Mentally, obviously playing around with hormones for some people, if you're hormone sensitive, which I am, it took its toll on me, on my mental health, and I felt just depressed and angry, and it was a lot. It was a lot. On our final cycle, they put me on a medication, which is a tablet called, what was it called? Clomid. And I think I was on it for 5 days, no side effects, nothing. And it was fabulous, and that's what we fell pregnant on.
It was interesting, and again, like, we're not medical professionals, so I'm not going to kind of like judge why 2 different clinics do things in different ways, because that's just their process, and it clearly works. So this isn't a thing against anyone really, but it was totally different. And the differences between those clinics were the types of medication were huge. Like, the amount of, I was injecting Verity. I got quite good at injecting. Like, I was injecting Verity every day. Like, it became a bit of a joke. I'd like wear a mask and put gloves on and everything. But yeah, I was injecting you every day. Whereas with Clomid, with the time it worked, you didn't need me to do anything. Like, you just did it all, and it was absolutely fine, and it worked. Now, that worked for us. Obviously, the clinic that we went to the first time, that's worked for other people. So, like I said, I'm not saying anything about that, but it was far less intrusive.
100%. And going back to how I said the medication the first time affected me, that's not to say that would affect the next person that same way.
Exactly.
You don't notice. And it's not something they pre-warn you on either.
What was it like doing the injections and scans so frequently? Do you know what? For me, but this is easy for me to say, right? Because for them to do follicle growth checks, they had to do, how would you describe the tool?
Oh, it's
what is it? It's called is it inter-uterine? I can't remember what they call it.
No, it didn't go into my uterus.
Oh yeah, I don't.
It's a vaginal probe, essentially.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what it is.
Because it's too small for it to use ultrasound.
It's the same sort of thing as what your first baby scan would be.
Oh yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah, so like I can say it was easy for me because I just had to sit there and hold Verity's hand.
That was by far not a bad part of it. It's
alright?
It's fine.
Yeah, you coped with that.
It is what it is, and
to be fair, you were really stoic. I think my mum's always joked that thank goodness she chose for Verity to do it and not me, because she doesn't think.
Oh, you're dramatic, aren't you? You are.
That's made me sad.
No, I still love you.
You are dramatic. Okay, but yeah, I don't know that I would have coped. Verity was amazing, and I was in awe of Verity. I still am, obviously, but I was so in awe of her through the entire process from start to finish because anyone puts themselves through that obviously it was for us as a family, but for me to have a child, for us to have a child, but to give me my son. You can't fail but to be in awe of them and be so proud of them. It was amazing what she did, and like we said, I don't know that I could have handled it as well as you did. You were seriously hard, solid.
It's really kind, thank you.
It's
kind.
It's kind, thank you. So I suppose that's it. First and second attempts. So these were interesting. I remember this moment. So it's
so do I.
Do you want to ask that question?
So how did we feel after the first attempt didn't work?
And what kept us going into the second attempt? I don't know. I think there was a couple of things. There's obviously the disappointment that it didn't work. But for Verity and me, because you empathise with your partner, you should. It was the fact that you'd gone through so much.
For me, it kind of felt like a grief. You're kind of grieving for what you really wanted it to be. It was really difficult, and I can imagine that's the same for anybody who ever gets a negative pregnancy test when they really want a child. You're grieving the life that you had planned in your head and this little baby, and it's really hard. It's a really, really difficult thing to happen. But what kept us going into the second attempt, what gives you that push, is how much you want a child and how much you want that family. So that's what kept me going.
I think it was that thing of you've gone through so much to get to where we were already. Why stop? I think we always knew as well. I think it's something you prepare yourself before you go through that first time. Do you want some more water?
No, it's okay.
Before you go through that first time, is that it's probably not going to work the first time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 20%, like it would be. I think it's slightly less.
I think it's 13 to 20%.
Yeah, it's really low, isn't it?
It's very low.
So you kind of know that it's but. And again, I'm not saying anything negative about any particular approach, but I don't know, there was a part of it where it was so intrusive and so much was in it, and there were so many negative moments because of how it impacted you and made you feel, that you kind of felt like I don't know, in some ways that it was harder for it to happen as opposed to the third time when it did.
What, I suppose, like the stress that kind of... Yeah.
There was a lot of stress.
And that may have played a huge part into why we didn't fall pregnant the first time.
Yeah. The second attempt, well, it wasn't an attempt. So basically, when you go through the process, as you start your medication, then I think a few days or a week after, they start doing follicle growth checks. And they needed, and I can't even remember what they were, the size it needed to be, but it needed to be growing by a certain amount each time you went back in, and you went back in every other day. You
could only have a maximum of 3 follicles.
Was it not 2? Or would they take 3?
I think the first clinic would take 3.
Yeah, because if they were worried... So basically, if you ended up having like 4 follicles that all grow...
They cancel your cycle.
They cancel your cycle because...
the chance of a multiple...
Yeah, multiple pregnancy.
High.
So, but yeah, so they test that as you go. So obviously the first time that worked. The second time, it was a little bit messy, wasn't it? It kind of... we were going to this like sort of out... outpost, but it was like
a satellite.
Yeah, that's the right word. I don't know what it is. A satellite
hospital
for those checks, and they just weren't growing. But initially they kind of ramped up the gonal or dropped the gonal, didn't they? Because they were worried and we were worried that they were dropping the gonal dosage too soon, and what it would mean was that the growth would fall off, and that's exactly what happened. The growth fell off, and I think that's because they were worried it was getting too big too quickly. So yeah, we didn't even get to insemination. And I think that was just so disappointing. That was really devastating, actually. So we call it the second go, but it kind of wasn't, because we didn't even get to the point of insemination. At what point did we start questioning things and considering a change? So I think, we moved.
Yeah, that's yeah.
We moved like 120 miles away from where we were before. So we could have carried on where we were, because they'd done all of the tests and everything else, and they kind of knew who you were, and you have to go through all the application for it as well. Like, it's taken very, very seriously. So we could have stayed with them and just travelled, but knowing that we would have to have those kind of intermittent follicle checks. Although with the third time we didn't need as many at all, did we? No. We kind of didn't want to be too far away. So we found another one. And I don't know, something about it just felt right straight away. Like, when we had a conversation with them, they were really clear. Well, they had kind of mentioned the fact that, that surprises us that you're on so much medication, because you're not someone who is struggling with fertility. You just can't have a baby naturally because you're 2 women. So actually, we would like to start you on the least intrusive medical process and strategy, which is just to have Clomid. So that kind of felt a bit better. The other thing that was better about it, or it forced us to do, one of the things that's really difficult with some clinics is that they kind of try to get you to use their... and not in a bad way. I think it's just that it's known to them, and they don't have to test their donors. So when you go to a clinic and you're just using their donors, so when you go to one clinic and you're using their sperm bank, it is very limited. And we found that the choice that we thought we might have, actually said this before, we didn't have. And that kind of, we always wanted to choose a donor based on them as a person. And, you know, you do get some information about them personally, their background, their reasons for doing it and stuff like that. And we really wanted to be able to do that. Yeah, we did kind of think, first on our list was the person and what we could tell about the person. That was the most important thing. And yeah, we did then think about things like, would it be nice, like, if they had darker hair or darker eyes, because then they perhaps, like, that would replicate my colouring a little bit more, whatever. And yeah, we didn't have that choice. Whereas with the fertility clinic that we went with up here, they said, look, we have got a waiting list for our donors, but actually what you could do is access an external donor bank that we hadn't even thought of before, had we? We didn't even know it existed, to be honest. Like, we didn't join the dots. So we looked for looked online for the different donor banks that are out there. We could put in the specific specifications what we would ideally want, and it meant that we were able to pick someone who we felt, do you know what, this is the sort of person that we would want to be the biological, father of our child. That's what we would want, and we were able to do that, weren't we? It felt better, didn't it?
Yeah, 100%.
It just felt better.
It did. Yeah.
I mean, as soon as we walked through the door, as soon as we had conversations with them, the simplicity of the process that they were proposing, it just felt better for us.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, definitely.
Looking back, what advice would we give about choosing a clinic? My advice is just do your research, get recommendations from people that you know who've maybe used clinics, but do a lot of research, because...
Talk to them.
And talk to them, yeah. I'm sure you can send emails or give them a call, or...
You get a feel for it as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And what they offer. What is going to come as part of the package. I think it's fairly standard. I think most of them do like implications counselling, all that sort of stuff. But with the clinic that we went with in the end, I think where we were successful, I think it was talking to them and just, they were just lovely, weren't they? It just felt, it was a really homely feel when you went there as well. The doctors were really personable and approachable.
Yeah.
So yeah, for us, I think it was a really positive experience. But Verity's right. You're always right.
I know.
She's definitely right there. Just do your homework. Do your homework. Did this time feel different, or did we guard our expectations?
I felt different. I was a lot more positive throughout.
You were, weren't you?
I was. Yeah. You were not so much. You were
Which was the reverse, wasn't it? Because I'd been really positive the first 2 times, and then after the break, and then we tried again.
Yeah, you were very much like, well, it's probably not going to work sort of attitude, where I was like, well, let's not say that, it might.
I think that to go back to the medication, but I think the change of medication was
maybe. And I think I knew. I think I felt different. I knew something had changed, like, your own body, and that's why I was quite positive, like, oh, something's different. So yeah.
So what was the moment we found out we were pregnant like?
Well,
you can answer this one and what you did.
The plan was always going to be, obviously, that...
Well, tell them what you were told. What were you told you had to do?
I was told I had to wait 2 weeks. They gave me a date that I could test. But for any person who's ever been waiting on a pregnancy test knows that is the hardest part of anything.
That was hard for me as well.
It's waiting to stick to the 2 weeks. I was told to wait 2 weeks. So and we were going to test together, obviously. Yeah,
we were going to test together.
Why wouldn't you test together?
Because it's our child. With legally signed documents, our child.
I woke up one morning to get ready for work, and I thought...
Was it like 4:30 in the morning?
It was early. I'm just going to do a pregnancy test. What's one day? I'm just going to do it. It's going to be negative anyway. And I did it, put it on the side, carried on getting ready, came back to it, expecting it to be negative. And it wasn't. And I sat on the toilet for about half an hour, like, oh God, I feel terrible. Oh my God, I'm pregnant. What am I going to do? I've done this without Nina. Oh God. And then I went, obviously, and told her and just said, I've got something to tell you.
It wasn't quite like that, though. Like, she came into the room and woke me up and sat there and went, Nina, Nina, I've got something to tell you. I was like, what? I was like, so bad. And then she was like, I'm pregnant. And I was like, and I was happy, of course. Like, I think we just sort of cried, and I didn't care. I mean, to be honest, I don't look back at it and go, I wish you'd have told me and we could have done it together. Like, I'm not.
Yeah, you've never said that either.
No, because the thing is, I always understood. Of course, it's something we've both gone through. Of course, he's our child. The 9 months comes up, and then we're both in the same boat, pretty much. But Verity was the one who's going through all of this. Verity was the one who's having her hormones messed around with, and had that fear of. For Verity, it was different. Like, I knew I had to try and keep her safe as much as I could and protect her. And I was like, do you remember, like, everywhere we'd go, I was like this, and it was just, I'd walk in front of you. Like, I think it was like the day after we found out, and I would like kind of try and steer, so there was a path, so like no one would touch it. But for Verity, she had to, for her, I knew that there was a lot of additional concern and anxiety. So yeah, I've never held that against you at all. Last one, were we excited straight away or cautious?
Of course we were excited, and I think...
We're both, weren't we?
Yeah, you're going to be cautious, you're going to be worried, you're going to be like, oh, is it going to stick, is it...
Well, the reality is, I mean, at that point, was it 4 or 5 weeks?
Really early.
We're lucky, because when you go through a clinic, they will offer you an early scan. So we knew we'd be able to go in at about 7 weeks. But we also know that, you know, everyone knows it, doesn't it? Like that first trimester, especially those first, like, the percentage of it being viable, and it continue, and the embryo. I'm getting this in the right order, aren't I? Embryo, fetus. Yeah, good. Okay, good. Obviously, paid attention in biology. Growing and being successful increases more and more week on week. So, yeah, I think we were cautious, but at that point, I think we both just decided to be positive.
Yeah, I think
we always were.
We were any more cautious than any other parent would be. That's just the norm, wasn't it?
Yeah. Okay, so next bit is thinking about, which we've mentioned a couple of times already, implications counselling and kind of what it is and why it's important. So, implications counselling, I think it's one of those things that you kind of think, I'm not sure I want this. I don't want to talk about all the negative stuff.
I think it's probably more for...
Did we do it before we were pregnant or after? No, it's before. You have it before they do treatment.
Yeah, of course you know.
Yeah, sorry, obviously, yeah.
So I think it's more probably for the non-carrying parent, I guess.
Maybe. I don't know, you know, because I think I've always had less of an issue with us having a donor, and I think that's your empathy with me.
Yeah, maybe.
I think you worry about that more. I mean, implications counselling was really good. Essentially, it is exactly what it sounds like. It's about the implications of the process you're going through. So what are going to be the implications of the fact that you are getting pregnant through fertility treatment? What are going to be the implications of the fact that your child has a biological donor that has made the process possible? And I think actually I was fine with that, and family as well, and how you're going to support them, how you're going to support your child to understand how they've come to be. I think for me, and this was why we chose the donor we chose, and why it was our top priority, because we knew the reasons. We knew that this donor had completely, like I said, altruistic reasons. He was doing this because he believed in giving another family, including same-sex families, the opportunity to have a child.
Yeah.
And I think because of that, I didn't see it as like, it's not some like, that's awful, but some random guy that might turn up one day. You know, it's someone who has gone into this, will likely have other children, other biological children that are born from him being a donor. So I don't think I worried about that much, but it was still helpful to have.
Yeah, it is. It's boring to really go into everything that they cover, I think.
Brutal. Just like,
no, it's
well, I think it was.
It's the implications on you as a family, isn't it? Like you said, it's going to be different for everybody. There's always going to be different implications. That counselling is going to affect you in different ways. That might be really tough for some people. It could potentially change your mind, I guess. Is this the right thing that we're doing? Is this what we want? I hadn't thought about X, Y, and Z. This has really changed my mind.
Yeah. But then I think that's different for us, because I think we knew what...
Yeah.
We knew. We'd already gone through implications thinking ourselves to land on a decision.
100%.
Because, look, the reality is when you... not decide to be gay, that's not what it is, but when you come out as gay, when you kind of accept that part of you, then you recognise that the reality is that's going to make it that much harder to have children if you want to have them. So I think, like, from the age of 18 onwards, I probably knew that if I was ever going to have kids, it was going to be different.
Of course.
So yeah, I think we were okay with it, but I can imagine for some couples, especially if you're talking about like couples who aren't same sex and that they need to go through this process because they do have fertility issues, then I think that's probably where implications counselling shines, and I think that will probably have a massive impact. Now, we didn't carry on using the counsellor. I think we could have carried on using the counsellor.
I think did we have more than one session?
I think we might have only had 2. I don't think we had that many.
No, we didn't.
Because, like I said, it was a case of us kind of being aware of it already because we'd gone through that. But I thought it was brilliant that they offered it, and I think 100%. It's brilliant that it's there for people.
It's definitely a tool that should be used. 100%. I
mean, we talk a lot.
Yeah.
Like, we talk a lot. Verity and I are always honest about our feelings. We're honest about every aspect of ourselves and our lives and our past, etc. So I think for us, we did a lot of that implications counselling work ourselves.
Between us, yeah.
We did though, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
So, but I still value it, and I mean, I always value counselling. I think counselling is the greatest gift you can give yourself, regardless. So, it's always good because what it does is it provokes discussion, important discussion between you. What were the highs and lows during pregnancy?
Pregnancy, whatever comes. Yeah, but it's really different for everybody.
There's nothing like coffee.
No, I love coffee and pizza. 2 of my favourite things in the world. From about, 7 weeks in, I could not.
From 7 weeks old, they were your favourite things.
Yeah, I could not bear them. I couldn't stand the smell, the taste. Oh, they repulsed me. Hated it. This is a tricky one because obviously highs and lows for us are always going to be different to other people. Morning sickness, awful. I was never physically sick, but felt hungover every day for about 7-8 weeks.
Like, she hadn't drunk?
No, I hadn't. I just felt hungover.
You just nauseous all the time.
It was awful, and
it was really
I couldn't eat until the evening.
You had to stay. You did a lot of working from home, didn't you? You really struggled to
I couldn't get out of bed because I felt so poorly.
Yeah.
Pelvic pain as I got bigger. I was alright, my moods were pretty stable, I think.
No, you were. You were brilliant. I mean, you were great. You shone through pregnancy. Like, you just took it like a champ. Like, that's want of a better phrase, but you did. You were amazing. You were so positive. You put the needs of like the baby first. I mean, everything you did, you didn't nag at me to go and get you food for particular cravings. I kind of lucked out there a little bit. You didn't really have particular cravings.
No, not really. Oranges.
Yeah, oranges. You loved the smell of citrus, didn't you?
Yeah, and jazz apples.
had to be jazz apples. Yeah. No, I think so. I mean, for me, it was just, I was just excited. I don't think I'd ever been more excited about anything in my life. The idea that we would go from us 2 and the dog to a 3 and it was beyond me. Like, I felt like it was surreal, and it's like waiting for, the level of excitement was unreal. Did anything surprise us about how we felt during this time? I don't think so.
No. I don't think we went in blind, didn't we?
I was
what we were going to feel.
Surprised about how amazing you were. Like, I was considering how much emotionally you I don't like to use the word struggled, because that's not like it was something you could control, but how it impacted, like the medication impacted you and your hormones before, and how sensitive you were from a sort of like hormone point of view. But you were amazing, so positive, so strong, so resilient. So yeah, I mean, I know you to be like that anyway, but
thank you. Yeah.
My Nonna was and is and always will be like one of the most important people in my life. Like, I absolutely adored her, and my granddad died in 2019, and we as a family started to really like see that that she had some difficulties, sort of wasn't as neurotypical, I guess you could say, as she was before, and she was diagnosed with dementia, and that kind of, over those kind of next few years it exacerbated, and you could see those difficulties she had with a short-term memory. But she was still she was still her, and we were immensely close. We always have been immensely close, and it was moving back home in 2022 was brilliant because it meant that we saw her, and we saw her every week. So even though she'd forget every week that Verity was pregnant or we're going through fertility treatment, we talk about it with her every week. Every Sunday we saw her and we talk about it. And yeah, when Verity was pregnant, this was a high. It's a high and a low. I'm going to try not to get too upset, but when Verity was pregnant, we go around to Nonna's every week, and every week she would look at Verity and go, "Oh, you're pregnant, when's it due?" Like, she would though, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
Like, every week she would say that, and we talk about names, and like, especially when it came to the point of it being a boy, we were clear, like, and Verity was brilliant about this, that he would be Giuseppe Marcellino, after my dad and after my nonna. And we'd say it, and she'd go, "Oh, that's lovely, oh, I love it," and that's what we did. We talk about getting him christened, and she'd say, I'll be his godmother, I'll be his godmother.
Yeah.
Wouldn't she? Like, we talk about it, and then we go away and come back the next week, and she'd look at Verity again and go, "Oh, when's the baby due?" And it used to make us laugh, but she did kind of know as well, because I don't know, she did kind of know. It's like there was a part of her that knew, but it didn't. Anyway, so that was the high point of it, but she was getting ill a lot. She was struggling because of her dementia. She was getting ill a lot, getting infections, and and struggling. And I just kept saying to Verity, I just want her to be here for when he's born. That's all I want. And unfortunately she got really unwell and was in hospital, and she died 3 weeks before he was born. So
She did.
that was tricky. It was tricky.
It was a really tough time.
It was a tough time. It was tough.
Very tough time.
I mean, we laugh about it. Although I get emotional, you're going to, aren't you? Like, she's like, yeah. We laugh about it, and we always say, like, "Oh, Pepper's definitely." They cross paths, didn't they? Like,
Yeah,
he's got
we say
of Joyce.
Say that he is your Nonna incarnate.
Yeah, we do. Like, sometimes we'll look at
Joyce. Is that you?
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, sorry for the tears. But I think so. Losing Nonna, I think the biggest thing, and I will get through this bit without crying, was I had to let it go. I had to let go my need for her to be alive when he was born, and because otherwise it was just going to eat up at me, and I was going to get bitter about it. And it does make me sad still, but like I said, I mean, I've got a beautiful photo, haven't I, of, like, I think it was literally a couple of weeks before she died, and you're sat next to her, and she's got her hands on your belly.
It's Christmas Day.
Oh yeah, so it's literally like, about a month, just over a month, yeah. And she had her hand on your belly, and so she was there. She may not have got to hold him, I may not have had that memory, but she was very much part of our pregnancy journey, wasn't she? Because she's probably the person we spent the most amount of time with through that whole process. It kind of brought some added difficulties, because she passed away 3 weeks before he was born, and there wasn't going to be a lengthy amount of time between then and the funeral, because there was no need. She'd died in hospital, so we started to have a bit of in the back of our mind. We weren't just sort of looking forward to the birth, we were also knowing that there was going to be a funeral, and actually both getting anxious about,
was I going to go into labour
the
funeral?
Because the idea of missing either was unimaginable. I mean, for both of us it was, but especially for me.
However, as it was, I was told that our child was going to be a good baby, and
kind of fortuitous, I guess, in a way.
That they highly recommended that we had a cesarean, so I didn't. Obviously, that's really scary. That wasn't the birth that I had planned, and this happens to so many people. But for my health and the sake of our baby's health, I chose to go for a C-section, and we were fortunate that we could book a date in for a cesarean.
We were, actually, and it kind of in a way took away the the anxiety, it's that we wouldn't have done that for that reason. It was because he was like literally massive, and so so we could take that little bit of control, I guess, in terms of when it would be, and it did remove that anxiety for us. What was the original birth plan, and when did things start to change? I mean we've kind of covered this already. So what was the original birth plan? When did things start to change? And what was it like being told that we needed to have, or should have, an emergency C-section? Because it was still your decision.
And it wasn't an emergency C-section?
No, it wasn't an emergency C-section.
It was just a C-section.
It was just a C-section. I got that bit wrong. It was just a C-section.
The original birth plan was hypnobirth, water birth. This is for me. Nina didn't have any say in...
I didn't have any say, but Verity would ask me questions about, okay, what about this? And I would just say, I want to do whatever is best, medically best for the child. That's what I kept saying, wasn't it? So, yeah.
But I had a plan.
She did have a plan.
Which is great. I think everybody should go in with a plan.
Definitely, yeah.
However, leading up to it, I can't remember how many weeks pregnant I was, 37 weeks pregnant. I was having a scan because I was classed as high risk due to, I don't know why, my kidney? I don't know.
It was your kidney, and Verity's only got one.
I've only got one. I was born with one. It's no big deal.
She's good. She's all right, don't worry.
And they said that from the scan, that they base his weight at over 9 pounds.
At 3 stone.
And that puts him at risk of shoulder dystocia. I'm not going to go into it. It's not nice. Very, very dangerous for both of us. So I was like, right. They either said an induction or a cesarean, and that's one thing I didn't want at all, ever, was an induction. That's fine though for anybody else. That's what you want to do. I was just aware that a lot of inductions end up in emergency C-section anyway. So that's
a lot, is it? I mean,
no, the percentage is quite high, but that's fine. It's not, because
it's not scary.
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
But so I thought, let's just get rid of that bit, go straight for the cesarean, safest option for me and for him to get him out.
Yeah. The difficulty was for me, like, it didn't matter. Yeah, I really, wanted to. I think for Verity, I wanted it to be natural because that's what Verity wanted. For me, I didn't mind. I just wanted it to be whatever was safest for Verity and for Pep. So yeah, for me, it didn't really. It didn't really matter as such, but yeah, I think in the end it had to be the safest thing, and I think that's kind of
and that's what we have to go on, isn't it? It wasn't what I wanted originally, but it's what needed to happen so that we could bring our child in safely to the world.
But it did stay with Verity. Like, I think it was one of the things that stayed with you for a while was the fact that guilt you almost felt, and that sadness you felt for the birth. And I think this is something that's really important to talk about, because I think a lot of women must feel this, and they should feel like it's okay to feel that way. Like, no one should ever feel that it isn't okay that way. Like, Verity felt massively guilty and felt heartbroken for not being able to have the sort of birth that she wanted to have. And I think that's really valid, and I think that's something that people should know that they can feel, and it's normal to feel, because it's your natural desire. If you want to have a natural birth, that's what you want to have, and you feel strongly about it. So it's almost like a loss in itself, not being able to do it that way. But yeah, no, we did what was safest, and it got us our boy in the end. Did mean that he came out not that wrinkled.
It was handsome.
Did also mean that Verity lost a lot of blood.
Yeah. Let's not go into that.
No, we do. You don't want to hear that, right? Becoming parents. So those first few days, what was that like? Did the reality match what we imagined? And how has it how's the journey shaped the way that we parent? I mean, look, straight off the bat, like, our experiences are polar opposites here, because I didn't go through anything medically. I had no difficulties with my hormones. I had a little bit I did have grief still, obviously, from losing my Nonna, but I had this baby in front of me, and I adored him and I loved him with every part of me. So for me it was a magical time, and seeing my parents hold him, all 4 of them, seeing my siblings, all 7 of them hold him, and my nieces and nephews and in-laws and my family from Verity's side. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful time. It was. For what could have been a really sad, difficult time, that baby came along and brought a lot of joy into a lot of people's lives. So it was. But that doesn't mean to say that I don't appreciate why that was different for Verity. Because it was.
Yeah,
initially it was.
Yeah, it was different. And one thing that I struggled with was, obviously I live away from my family. So I was really fortunate that my sister came up, and she was...
We didn't want her to leave.
No, she was at our house waiting for us for when we got back from the hospital.
Still don't want her to leave.
No, we don't.
Still have her back.
But that was difficult. And obviously, we brushed upon, obviously the birth wasn't the birth that I wanted. So, yeah...
It's hormonal as well. I think the hormones were massive. Kirsty, it was amazing. She was, I'm sure she'll watch this. She better watch this. Kirsty was fantastic. It was great having Kirsty there, because it just meant, and she did exactly what you would want someone to do who's going to be there in the initial few days after a baby. She kind of she didn't take over anything. She did all the background stuff so we could just get used to our life.
The washing up, making your coffee.
She was just phenomenal. And when I would have all these visitors, because I'm Italian, so 24 hours, everyone comes around, sees the baby. Kirsty was running around getting cups of tea and coffee and making sure there were biscuits and stuff, and she was supporting Verity. I think one of the funniest sights I ever saw, which showed me a lot about them as sisters, right, was when Verity was trying to harvest colostrum from her breasts, and I just turned around and I was like, Kirsty was sat there trying to help you do it, and I was like, whoa. So I love my sisters, but I just don't think we'd do that. But yeah, no, it was amazing. But yeah, for Verity it was different. There was the hormone aspects, the fact that the birth hadn't gone the way she wanted. Verity also, because Pep was so little and Verity was so... she'd gone through a C-section and she had lost a lot of blood. Verity wasn't well enough to come to my Nonna's funeral, and that really broke her heart as well. She found that really difficult. And then on top of that, the other thing that she really, really wanted to do, as well as have a natural birth, was... breastfeed.
And unfortunately, due to one reason or another, it just didn't work out that way. And I put a lot of pressure on myself to do that. I don't know why, because he got fed regardless. It really didn't matter.
Yeah, he didn't care. He was good.
I think it was more for me.
Actually, it meant that I could feed him as well.
Yeah, it was more for me, I think, and the guilt that I felt with the birth that I had, and
you did want to give him the best, though.
I did want to give him the best, of course. Of course. However, we weren't fortunate for me to be able to breastfeed. I did try, and it is what it is, really. Yeah,
I think that was difficult, and I think it was one of the things that took a while. For me, I knew it and I could see it, and you might not remember it as much, but I just knew, and it was really hard, because what you want to be able to say to him is don't worry, don't feel bad about it, it's fine, but that's not going to touch the surface like that. It's not going to make a difference in how she felt. She wanted to be able to breastfeed. She found that really difficult, and all I wanted was for her to just give herself a break, for her to not feel bad about the fact that she couldn't have a natural birth, for her to not feel bad about the fact that she couldn't breastfeed. And I think we've kind of said that we're not going to have another one, but I think at one time we did think about having another one, and at that point, I think because of your previous experiences, you'd already said, I'm not going to stress if I can't breastfeed, or we can't have a natural birth. I'm not going to worry about it. I'd like to, but if I can't, I can't. And that was the difference. She was so set on having a natural birth, so set on breastfeeding. When neither happened, that was just like a catalyst for you to really, a moment spiral. You really struggled emotionally.
I did.
And you were in pain.
A lot of pain.
And she had this because Verity you lost a lot of blood, and because of the cut and everything else, you had what was it called? The thing you had?
Oh, PQ dressing.
That made like weird noises every now and again, like it was like a whirring sound, wasn't it? So nothing about it you liked, like it was uncomfortable. I mean, you were amazing. Like, I've got to say this, she was phenomenal from day one. Verity always looks back and says, I feel so bad that I wasn't the parent he needed me to be, because mentally you were diagnosed with.
I was so postnatal depression. It's a really important thing that everybody should be able to speak about, alongside.
PTSD though, really.
Yeah, it was an anxiety due to the birth and everything after. It was tough. It was really tough. I was really fortunate that there was help out there, and I had a psychiatrist, and I was prescribed medication. Probably medication that I probably needed before I was even pregnant, because it's really helped with previous things that I probably need help with.
I think people worry though. I think mothers worry, and especially after the fact, they worry about talking about it because they worry it makes them look like they're unfit to look after their children, and that's just not right.
And that was a worry that I did have as well.
Yeah, you were. You were like, I don't know.
A social service is going to come and knock on my door and take my baby away.
Take my baby away.
However, that is so far from the truth. So far. And there's so much help out there.
And it's about people understanding.
It's
about having your partner understand it and be empathetic to it, and realise that actually, yes, that your partner is not how you typically know them to be, but they are going through a period of challenging mental health, and their brain is not chemically working the way that it typically would. And you have to understand that, and you have to be empathetic towards that. You can't try and fix it, you can't try and take it away. You just have to be whatever it is that they need, and I think that's something that's really important for a lot of people to know. But yeah, I mean, Verity struggled, but the thing is, and she doesn't, I don't know if you believe me when I say this, but it's so true. It's like any bit of energy, it's like you had an instinct, and any bit of energy you had to be positive and everything else, you piled into Pet. Like you just, every moment you were parenting him, you were perfect. You were absolutely perfect. Like you didn't let
stop
it. You didn't let what you were experiencing change how great you were. You were amazing. I was so proud of you.
I still am amazing, by the way.
I know she still is amazing, but I was so proud of you. I was so proud of you about what you were able to do, going through what you were going through emotionally. It was inspiring, and I knew at that point I've got a good one there. I'd already proposed anyway, but
yes,
that was a high point of the pregnancy. I proposed.
You did.
I proposed when we had our first date. There you go. First few days like that. Like I said, polar opposite experiences. I think the one thing that was, and this was just before he was born, was when Verity was in theatre. I think I had the scariest moment of my life, and it's where Verity had the, I always want to say epidural. I think my mum used to call them that for fun, being funny, epidural. But oh my goodness, like it was hard. I mean, you went through a lot to have that, and her blood pressure plummeted, and she went blue on the operating table. And I was sort of sat on that little stool a couple of feet away, and I looked at her and I was like, it was terrifying seeing her.
I thought I was going to die.
It was awful. But oh my God, weren't they amazing? Like the anaesthetist, how sweet was she?
She's
and
amazing.
The midwife, and everyone was just brilliant. They were such amazing people. But so that bit was scary. But yeah, like I said, like Verity lost a lot of blood. How much was it in the end?
I can't remember.
A lot, though, wasn't it?
It was a lot, yeah.
I was with Pep, which for what felt like hours while they were stitching you up. I remember a moment when I was holding Pep. It was weird because, like, obviously we were holding him together, but your head was just like that, and they had the screen up, and I was like holding him by your head. And at one point, for some reason, I went, I just wonder, and I was like, oh, I was like, blood everywhere. I was like, nope. So yeah, different experiences completely. And I think all I could do, and I hope I did it as much as I could have done, was be able to acknowledge that it was different experiences and and understand that.
Why? 100%.
What
You were
feeling.
amazing. I couldn't have done it without you.
Cheers.
It's okay.
Thanks, babe. Okay, yeah. So I think that's what it is.
No. I think if I was to do it again, obviously, planning the birth wise, just go in with no expectation.
I think that's the thing you do differently.
And I think that's just advice to give any parent as well, is obviously have a plan, stick to that plan as much as you can. But it's really important to be open to anything, because anything can change in a split second.
Absolutely. And I think, in terms of advice we'd give for anyone who's kind of like going on this journey, very specific to us, like an kind of like same-sex couple going through fertility treatment, IUI, whatever it is. For anyone, actually no, it doesn't even have to be same-sex. For absolutely anyone who's going to embark on a journey of fertility treatment, the thing that I would say is to just always talk, to keep talking. You've got, because both of you are going to have different experiences, and you have to keep being able to understand what those experiences are to support each other as best you can. And I think that's what we did. We constantly talked about all the good stuff and the exciting stuff and names and everything else, but also the things that were more challenging. Like if I had a moment where I thought, something to Verity, like, what if he doesn't want to be around me as much as he wants to be? Or like, what if he feels that biological pull that he doesn't feel from me? Then, and we talk about it, and that's what helped us through things. So that's what I'd suggest. And what are we most proud of from this journey?
Giuseppe.
Oh yeah, obviously. Yeah, okay, obviously we're most proud of Giuseppe.
Us as parents, bringing Giuseppe into like that. Yeah, that's...
Yeah. And what about how we dealt with the...
I'm proud of us, of course.
Yeah.
Like, we've had to change as people.
Yeah.
We've grown a lot.
Not always easy, because you go from it being you two and you two being everything to each other, and even when Verity's pregnant, it's still just us two really, to there being someone else there, and like Pep sleeps in our bed. I'm hoping this reaches people. I'm hoping it at least reaches one person, the one person who needs to hear it the most.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that's why we've chosen to do it, just for completely those reasons. So if it impacts one person in a positive way, then that's fantastic. But if you do have any questions, or if you've been through something similar and you want to kind of comment on your own experience, then please do sort of comment in the bit down where you comment. I don't know, where is the comment box? Is it underneath the video? It's somewhere down there. And if there's any particular topics that are related to this that you think would be beneficial for us to do a video on again, then I'm sure Verity wouldn't mind doing that. She's actually spoken far more than I thought she would, so thank you for doing that. But yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for sitting and listening to our journey. I know this is a long video, and you may not have watched it all, but this is a really important journey to us, and like I said, we want it to be something that can positively impact other people's lives, so hopefully it does that. And that's it. So thank you very much. Thank you, darling.
Thank you.
Just say thank you to...
Thank you.
Thank you. Orcs. Bye, guys.